I didn't ask for details, and I told her I am not going to be in a relationship with an unfaithful woman. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Our Zone Stories. Today we have a story with an update where this woman did everything so that her BF take her back. But he did this. Let's see how this story ended. I've been with my ex-girlfriend, Vanessa, for the past 5 years. We met at a convention for one of our hobbies, started just talking about the hobby itself, with no other goal in mind. We started dating, when she confessed that she liked me as more than a friend, and it was mutual. I just kept quiet, because I didn't really want to ruin the friendship, and I wasn't really expecting her to be interested in me. Dated for about 2 years steadily. Before we moved in together, our families meshed well together, our friends mingled, and we all became one big mixed social circle. That was a surprise, because we both come from very different financial backgrounds, me being raised in middle-class kind of finances, Vanessa and her friends and family being really, really rich. Everything was great for the past 3 years, except when she cheated. Vanessa cheated on me with some random guy. I don't even honestly know why, nor do I really care to find out. I found out a month ago because I took her phone to call up a friend since mine was inoperable at the time. First thing I saw when I unlocked her phone was a message popping up about how some guy loved that back bouncing on him the day before. I'll spare you the emotional turmoil I briefly went through, and I'll admit I just put the phone down, told her I was leaving without telling why, and I could see she was confused about me just going out like that. I just didn't want to do something I'd regret, because I did have anger issues in the past, but have mostly worked past those. She probably found out I saw that message, but since my phone was still in the apartment, there was no one way to get in touch with me. I literally just walked around the city for hours, until I was so tired that I felt like falling asleep on my feet. I went over to a friend's place, stayed with them over the night, and the day after I got over to our apartment, and talked it out with Vanessa. I told her I wasn't going to be in a relationship with a cheater, and that was that. I didn't ask for details, how it happened, who exactly the other guy was. I just wanted to go away from it all. She wasn't looking to oblige me, crying hysterically, blaming herself, hitting herself in the head, because she was, and I quote, a stupid cheating woman, begging me not to go, that she would do anything to try and fix this. The whole thing just made me even more uncomfortable to be around her, and there was a scene in front of our apartment when our neighbors came out to see what the noise was about. I did manage to get away, but it was unnecessarily complicated with drama. She made her choice to do bedroom activity with someone else. I made mine to break up, because I don't want to be with a cheater. I managed to take away most of my things from the apartment when she wasn't there and hoped that would be that. But if it was, I wouldn't be here now. I mentioned before Vanessa and her family are rich. She's now using her, and I presume her family's, money and not giving me a single day of some kind of reminder of her. Either I'm getting gifts sent my way at my workplace, or I'm getting letters in the mail and packages, or she just hangs out with one friend of hers somewhere where she knows I am. I have no idea how she knows, and this is making me feel paranoid, because I keep thinking she might have someone following me, trying to get me to talk with her. I have tried talking with local police on the matter, but have been told in not so many words that her family would make sure nothing would be done about it. Props to the cop for being honest about it, but they could do their job instead. I want to heal. I want to move on. But she's not letting me, and I don't have enough money to just move away somewhere else. She's already blocked or ignored on every possible media I have, but strangely enough she's not trying to get to me through them anyway. Friends on the other hand are. Every friend she's got, and she has plenty, has asked me to just meet up with her, hear her out or something else like that. But I'm so tired of that. I'm tired of this kind of situation. I just want it over with. I don't want to hear her speak. I don't want to see her. It won't do me any good. So please, can anyone here help me? How do I move on from someone who won't let me, and who has absolutely both the time and money to keep doing it indefinitely? Do I give her that one meeting she wants from me? Would that even help? I'm not from USA or some other first world country, so I pretty much have no legal recourse. I'm not sure how helpful this will be, but every time a friend, mutual or otherwise, tries to pressure you into talking to her, stop talking to them. Stick to your guns. I've had to go through a similar situation recently regarding harassment. Document everything. Every piece of mail, every gift, everything. It might not help now, but it will. Dedicate every spare moment you have to work. Save as much as possible. Get a second job if that's what you need to do. Save up as much money as you can to move. When you move, don't tell anyone where you are going unless you trust them 1000% to not tell your psycho ex. From the information that you've given, which isn't a lot, it makes me think that she's mentally unstable. Most people don't start self-harming when things don't go their way. You have a right not to forgive her. Like you said, you made your choice and she made hers. In the end, I set up a meeting with my ex's mother, whom I'd mentioned in one of my posts when I was replying to people about this whole thing. It was roughly a week after I'd made my previous post. She knew why we were broken up and completely backed up my decision to break up with her daughter, seeing how much it hurt me. It meant a lot to me, and I guess I never really appreciated her mom being so friendly with me. While we were together, I explained to her what had been going on since the breakup. She only knew that the ex was trying to get back together with me, but she didn't know about her showing up at any place I went out, her friends badgering me, or the letters and gifts being sent my way constantly. I came close to tearing up because of how much support she showed me at the time. At one point she even hugged me like I was a little kid again. I felt both embarrassed and grateful. I just wanted space and time to heal from this situation, and I think she understood as much. All in all, after we got that out in the open, she promised me she would get her daughter back into line, to leave me alone and stop harassing me. We talked a bit some more after that, but went our own ways soon after. The ex's harassment continued for a day or two, and then it completely stopped. No messages, no calls, no sudden appearances where I was hanging out or anything. 3 weeks out, and nothing from her so far. It's been bliss. It's like this huge weight just rolled straight off me. It's easier to breathe, and I'm not even looking at the door of someplace I'm hanging out at to see if it's the ex or one of her friends. I didn't even notice that myself. My friends were the ones who brought it up to me. So yeah, this is 1,000 times better than what it was like before. I did talk with my ex's mom one more time over the phone, and I thanked her for whatever she did with her daughter, and she was saying it was the least she could do. Near the end of the conversation, she said it would probably be for the best if we didn't speak anymore. It would let me fully move on from this, but that she was sorry it had come to this, and that her and her husband wouldn't see me coming over for Christmas. We said our goodbyes and that was that. So that's it. The harassment stopped. I'm feeling great, and life's really looking better nowadays. One more time, thank you all guys and gals for trying to help me out from the situation I found myself in. She wasn't getting a second chance. That was huge. Many people would have gone back, or at least had a meeting with their ex. She definitely messed up by cheating on him. By the sounds of it, they were very good together, and she lost a great guy with a good head on his shoulders. I'm wishing him all the best. Man, that's something I wish I did. My situation was almost like yours. I dated a guy freshman year, but he emotionally cheated on me and left me for another girl. Sophomore year I tried to be friends, but he was manipulative to me. Junior and senior year, he tried to make it up to me by sending me a bunch of unwanted gifts, came to my performances without my invitation and give me flowers, tried to find a way to hang out in my classes during transition, even though he wasn't in those classes, tried to hang out with whatever group of friends I'm hanging out with, and we have mutual friends, and they were mostly on his side, talked to my family and little siblings, like sit with them at football games whenever I was in the marching band, asked friends to reach out to me for him whenever he thought I was sad about something, a bunch of other stuff. The school couldn't do anything about it because it wasn't direct stalking. He was just trying to apologize for everything he has done. I've moved on. I just wanted him to leave me alone. This made me wish I talked to his parents, because I don't know if they have any idea what was going on. When we dated it was for only 3 months, and I haven't talked to them much, and English isn't their first language, but they still should have known, and maybe they would have straightened him up. This happened in 2016, so it's all over now. This was in the very back of my mind until I saw this post. But it was really crappy, and I'm really sorry you had to go through all of that. But I'm really glad you did something to fix it. What a mess my life has been the last few weeks. I found out on October 14th that my partner, father of our 2 children, cheated on me with his ex-wife, who is also married with 2 kids and lives on the other coast. Technically, when I found out, it was only emotional cheating, But that weekend, it became physical when she flew out here. So I had to sit with this information while he was physically cheating on me. My heart hurts just reliving that. I wanted to write this out so I can reflect on it later. It'll be long, so I suppose you can buckle up. My partner was married in 1999 and they divorced in 2004 or 5. He did nothing but spit venom when she would seldomly be brought up with how much she had wronged him. She also cheated on him when they were married with her now husband. I swear to God it's a soap opera. Anyway, there is a 16-year age difference between us, and I never was married, and I've been with him on and off for 14 years. How I found out, he doesn't really have any kind of social media. He was showing me something on his phone, and I saw that a Facebook message came through when a banner dropped down. I didn't react or say anything, because I wanted to investigate myself. A few days later while he was showering, I opened Facebook Messenger on his phone and saw the messages between him and this woman. It wasn't until I clicked on her profile to see that it was actually his ex-wife. I was in such a state of shock, and I couldn't believe that this was happening. Now, I knew she had reached out back in June to say she had some of his family photos of his grandma and others that she wanted to send him. He came home and told me about it and told me how incredibly thankful he was for me because of what she went through, and how he could not have experienced what he did if she didn't decide to leave him. I thought it was odd for her to do that. Like, why not just mail them? Why do you need to get into contact? Well, now I understand what she was orchestrating. The morning of the 14th, when I was getting our kids ready for the day, I took just a couple of screenshots and sent them to myself and deleted them off his phone and messages and photos. He left for work. I was losing my mind trying to keep what I could together to not have my kiddos see me like this. I immediately reached out to my best friends. It was going to be a rough weekend because I was going to a concert that Friday night with my daughter, and the next day we had a soccer game, baby shower, and months ago I booked a hotel for us to stay at for fun to go to Oogie Boogie Bash the next day with the kiddos. He was supposed to stay at the hotel with us, even though he didn't have a ticket for Oogie Boogie, but then told me he wanted to stay home and catch up on sleep. Well, anyway, after the concert, I made sure he was asleep, and I looked through the majority of their conversation. I would have looked through all of them, but they were talking so much, and I took all the screenshots possible. So much so that if I were to be able to contact her husband, there is zero way she would be able to deny anything. She was the one to create a new email address to create the Facebook profile for him, and he even had screenshots of the messenger settings to make sure the message didn't show up. She was holding his hand through this whole process to make their conversations undetectable. I saw that they were supposed to meet on the 15th, the night me and my kids were staying at the hotel. I gambled and turned on his location to share with me on my phone. He apparently did not notice. I was able to see which hotel she was staying at, where they went to eat that night, and when they got back to her hotel. I was on the phone with my friend for 2 hours while they were together. I could not keep still. I was pacing. My mind was just ping-ponging off of everything. And what was horrible is I couldn't even enjoy the time I had with my kids that I was so excited about. Awful. The next day was Oogie Boogie. My son is a bit too young and wild to wrangle by myself and my daughter, so I did have him come and pick him up midday. Well, several hours later, I saw that he had gone to her hotel. I asked my neighbor to go knock on our door to see if anyone was there and confirm he had brought my son to her, or if he had someone watching my son at home. Turns out, it was the former, and the location showed they were at a park not too far from her hotel. I swear, I near left Oogie Boogie Bash to pick up my son and bring him with me. It was so awful that he could bring our son into that situation. However, I didn't want to leave a poor memory in my daughter's heart about me not being there that night. I was so out of my mind though. We used my friend's phone to FaceTime him, who picks up a random FaceTime call. He doesn't have her number, and he barely showed me our son and kept the phone pointing to the sky. Horrible evening. Worst taste left in my mouth when I was looking forward to being with my daughter and making memories. That night I get home to try and check his messages again. I notice all of their messages were deleted, thinking that the FaceTime raised considerable suspicion, except for the messages they had that night after he got home from the park. And it indeed was confirmed that they were with my son, because she had made comments about him and how she wishes it was them having a family. Leave my kids out of your fantasy. However, I also saw that he said, "Save your energy for tomorrow," and I said no. I had my really good friend meet me at like 6:30 in the morning to help me drop my kids off at daycare, and we were going through all the different scenarios to confront him. Side note, the reason I had not confronted him until now was I was going to get custody papers served to him. But my anxiety and mental health was not going to be able to hold on until then. Well, it finally boiled down to me having to confront him at the hotel. Originally, we were gonna pretend to be Postmates and drop off an order of disposable douches box that had "You are" written all over it. That didn't work, and me and my friend valeted my car at the hotel and sat in these chairs behind a pillar where valet was and waited for him. I saw on my phone that he was pulling up. As he opened his door, I confronted him. Nothing special was spoken, and he kept stammering with "What and what are you doing here?" He then drove off after I said he should stay here tonight, because it'll be more comfortable for him than being home. My friend and I then drove back to my place where he and I argued for 40 minutes, and I swear it was the most psychotic argument ever. Complete defensive mode, projecting like crazy, and it just wasn't ending. I decided to leave the argument and take my dog to the dog park with my friend. I texted him to say we should try and be normal for each other for the sake of the kids. He agreed, and we just existed around each other for that week. There have been ebbs and flows since the 17th when I confronted him. I have seen 4 lawyers. I wanted to know what it looks like to walk away with our kids in terms of custody arrangements and child support. He makes double what I do, and I don't make a lot for a high cost of living. A week goes by since the confrontation, and I tell him to come home early from work because I wanted to talk. Mind you, they are still talking this whole week, not through Messenger, but emails now. The point of the discussion for me was to get the truth. The truth of everything, of how did it turn into her sending him family photos, to the emotional intent of their conversations, and then to her flying out here from the East Coast for them to meet up and have bedroom activity. He's been honest, 100%, as I have asked questions I already knew the answer to, and some questions I can't validate the answer, but it was the more hurtful answer than a lying one. This has been a wild ride, and I feel like I am living in a fog. I don't trust myself with making decisions right now because of how wounded I am. So, I made sure we did a couples therapy session, and have another this week. I did tell him and the therapist this is to see if we can reconcile, and if we cannot, then it's to be used to find a way to separate amicably, because we owe that to our 2 kids. I didn't grow up in a healthy environment when my parents split, and I sure do not want to do that to them. So here I am, doing some form of healing, maybe some form of self-sabotage, all while trying to keep from collapsing. Thankfully, I was able to share nearly all the screenshots I got with her husband. Poor guy, he seemed really nice, and I could feel his pain through the messages, because I felt that same pain the week prior. We talked for a little bit, but he's been radio silent since then, which I presume he either confronted her, or is seeking his own legal counsel. She done messed up too, because she lives in an at-fault state, where infidelity holds weight in divorce proceedings. The true tragedy in all of this is how hurt our children will be. Like, my partner and I weren't in a good position before this, which I am sure was part of the moving piece that fostered his behavior. But see, I got a dog to help with companionship. He did bedroom activity, his ex-wife. Clearly we're not the same. Wow, felt good to write this down. If you read until now, wow. Thank you, and hopefully my pain and situation can help you by realizing you're not alone in enduring such a horrible situation. I am not sure what my future holds. I just need to make sure I make good decisions for myself. I'm sorry that her soon-to-be ex suddenly got stupid here. The good news is this: if he ends up back with her, which he may if her betrayed husband ends it with her, she will do the same thing again to him. She is a known cheater. I admire that she know her are more worthy than them. I also tip my hat to her knowing staying for the kids is a bad idea too. That causes more issues. Your problem will be you told the partner's wife, so now your partner will try everything to get back with for 2 reasons. 1, his other option, partner is probably gone temporarily as she will have to fix her situation. She sounds manipulative and sneaky to maybe pull it off depending on how strong her husband is. 2, he knows now he is in trouble, so doesn't want to be on the hook for support, etc. He is going to promise the world and act sincere, but do you really think he would put in the work to fix stuff? And will it be for the right reasons? The problem is, I don't think they will ever stay broken off completely. If she gets dumped, expect her to probably come full force after him, needing a friend to talk to her and console her. If she works it out with her husband, once all this calms down, she will contact your partner again. Hate to say it, but it sounds like she has that magic spell over him, and he will always fall for her shenanigans eventually. Plus, it appears he is half checked out of your relationship already. At this point, you probably need to separate and file with the lawyer. If nothing else, it will show him you are serious, and no matter what sneaky crap his partner helps him with, you aren't falling for it. Honestly, I don't think reconciliation is going to work. He didn't just cheat. He and the partner came up with elaborate plans to not only deceive you, but to hide the deception. His moral compass is trash at this point, and hers is even worse. He let a woman wreck his marriage by dragging him around by his Johnson. Focus on your kids and your own self-healing. He didn't worry about you when he pulled all this junk. Don't worry about him now. Let him cry, beg, or whatever, but stay strong and get your priorities in order. Don't fall for his save our family stuff either. He wrecked it while he ran around like a whipped schoolboy. You caused none of this. He can fix his end. You worry about the part of your family that did what they were supposed to be doing.